I had an out-of-body experience thanks to JoJo's Donuts here in Bellingham. Welcome back. We're here for the Building Bellingham Business News Update, and it's the local information on what's happening here, there, and all the places, who's moving and who's opening, who's closing, and just trying to keep you all informed. So thanks for joining us. What do we have going on?
The Flatiron Building has had some vacancies recently, and there's a new place coming into town. This is Nomad Charcuterie and Wine. So Francis and Brian moved in from North Carolina, and they are building out some of that space right there on Prospect Street. I don't know how much of that space in the Flatiron Building is being taken up, but they've got some beautiful green. They've got some tile coming in. They've shared some sneak peeks on their Instagram. They're still working on the build out right now with Chuckanut Bay Builders, but it's promising to be a really beautiful new space. So stay tuned on their Instagram for opening dates and all their offerings to our community.
We all need more charcuterie, or as Tiffany would call it, adult Lunchables. So thank you for bringing adult Lunchables to Bellingham.
You had an experience with this next one, Leo. It was a moment. You had a moment.
I had an out-of-body experience thanks to JoJo's Donuts here in Bellingham. New donut shop, and apparently they have lines out the door, and they have a rotating menu of just whatever they feel like making that all sounds delicious at every point. And I haven't had a donut in a while, not because I don't love donuts, but there's not a lot of good gluten-free options. I just they'll find something else better that's gluten-free. And the gals here, so Tiffany and Taylor, brought me a specifically gluten-free, I think it was a lemon-filled glazed donut, and Taylor and Tiffany were explaining the whole process and all about this company, and I sat there eating the donut, and I didn't hear a word they said because I was eating the donut, and it was lights out, really good. So go check them out and check out their menu online. And also Instagram, correct?
Yes, their Instagram is drool worthy. Their menu changes every single day. They have a lot of vegan options, and as you referenced, gluten-free options as well. Another opening and another vegan place. Voice crack. This is the long-awaited Vigos. So Sage Against the Machine is expanding into a brick-and-mortar location, and we're so excited for them because they're not only bringing their food truck offerings to like a diner kind of setting, but they're also a convenience and grocery store for everything vegan.
Yeah.
Which is just lovely. Like, you scroll through again their Instagram or their website and see like these cases, and it's like fresh this, frozen this, and it's every option is going to be vegan there.
One thing I love about Sage Against the Machine and now Vigos is that they've done such a good job of making it exciting and interesting and delicious. Whereas vegan food that I've had in the past, my sister went vegan and she brought home vegan food, and I was like, I'll pass on it, but they're so good. It's so delicious, and it's such a cool spin on finding a parallel between meat and meatless, right? And sustainable. Right. That's a huge part of vegan food culture. Right. So kudos to you guys for opening that up. We're really excited for that. I know Taylor is as well, because she's a huge fan.
Big fan.
We're all fans, but she's the biggest of the biggest. So a huge staple in the Bellingham coffee world, the Black Drop Coffee House that used to be over by Mount Bakery and then moved over to the Rook and Rogue building, same building over there. They have actually closed down, and a huge thank you to them for bringing delicious coffee, locally sourced, really good vibes, and being a big part of the downtown area for so many years. Was it almost 20 years?
I think so. I could be misremembering, but it's a significantly long time, and really beautiful to read some of their final posts on Instagram. Definitely recommend checking those out. Lots of just memories. Sharing some things.
Well, it's a lot of time to have, and a lot of different eras to have seen in Bellingham. So thank you so much to you all for being amazing supporters of the downtown area and bringing good coffee. And we wish you nothing but success and happiness in the next endeavors that you embark on.
On the flip side, one of our favorite local businesses is celebrating an anniversary. Who's that, Leo?
Overflow Taps. Jesse and Adam over at Overflow are coming up on their 6-year anniversary, which is awesome. We've, first of all, just super enjoyed watching their business grow, their social good model, which I think everybody should have a social good mechanism in their business. And you can tell I don't care a ton about that, right? No, I think that they've done an amazing job with how they've grown their business, how they've supported other local businesses, how they've educated people on craft beer, how they've opened up one business model in two very different locations,
Yes.
Linden and Bellingham. So huge kudos for
Mhm.
you to you both. And then also seeing the business model evolve from being like super event based
Mhm.
to going. I remember having a conversation with Jesse where he's like, "We're doing too many events." I'm like, "But I love all your events." He's like, so anyways, we're super stoked that
Mhm.
you guys are still around and still in business and still
Mhm.
supporting local breweries and cideries and seltzeries. I don't know what they're called.
And speaking of conversations with Jesse, Jesse was your very, very first guest on this podcast.
He was the OG.
He was the OG. That was 2.5 years ago now. But if you want to hear the story of how Overflow came to be,
Yes.
it is Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all the places where you stream the Building Bellingham podcast.
Jesse was an awesome guest,
Mm-hmm.
and we've had a lot of fun with the Clean Water Happy Hours as well, which we
Mhm.
have one coming up with Overflow.
Yes, we do.
In, is it 2 weeks?
I believe it's the 26th, and I will put a correction on the screen right here if it's something else.
Yep. Show up. It's a great time. We're back in person. We're super excited to have
Mhm.
just taken a quick break, but we're jumping back into it.
Mhm.
Same deal as we always do, and having a lot of fun, and come have a beer on us and win some great prizes
Mhm.
and celebrate the whole mindset of giving.
Yeah.
Right? Come join us.
Lastly, we have an episode coming out dropping in 2 days
Of what?
or tomorrow, depending on when you're watching this. We have a new episode dropping on Thursday, and for this episode or any other episodes in the future, to be the first person to know that a new episode has dropped and to find out next month's episode guest, if that news is public, and to see this video all wrapped up into one single email, please do subscribe to the Building Bellingham newsletter. That way you can have an entire month's worth of Building Bellingham content showing up in your inbox all at one time. If you ever feel like not scrolling Instagram for a little while, then the newsletter is a great way to make sure you're not missing on any local business news content.